My latest project is investigating a gesture module to see if I can use it to control some of my equipment, such as my transceiver, signal generator, antenna rotator, etc. I'm using a AQZ CI V module. Here it is mounted on a little circuit board. I'll just go in a little bit closer so you can have a bit of a close look at it. It uses the I2 bus to send its gesture information to a microprocessor. I'm using the Nano. This particular module has 9 gestures built in: up, down, left, right, clockwise, counterclockwise, forward and backward. So here's my little setup with the Arduino Nano, small display, and the little gesture module sitting there above the display so I can demonstrate the gestures. Here's a diagram of the hookup, just using a Arduino Nano. Here's the module connected to the SCL and SDA pins. Not much else, just the display to show the gestures. There's my little test setup with the display and the Nano down there. You'll see the little gesture module just attached to the top of the display there. So I can show you both the display and the gesture module as I move my hand in front of it. So the idea of this is a little experiment, a bit of a fun experiment to see what I can use those gestures for example to control my IC706. There's only a few gestures that I think are reliable, like up, down, left, right, and they may be used, for example, to move the frequency on the rig, maybe change the mode or something like that, maybe even the volume. Anyway, we'll hook it up to a IC706 via an interface device and see what happens. The module recognises 9 gestures. I've got it mounted upside down, so if I move my hand up it should say down. If I move my hand down it should say up. There's left and right. There's one called wave, which comes up if you wave your finger in front of it. There you go. And there's clockwise and counterclockwise, and there's what's called forward and backward. So you move your hand closer and further away. The clockwise one and counterclockwise ones do work, but they're not 100% reliable. To test the gesture module on my IC706, I've had to knock up this little CI5 interface unit. I've just put it on my little prototype board. It's an Arduino Mega. Some switches and a little keypad and a bit of software I've written, and it will send binary coded decimal information to the 706 and tell it what to do. Here's a quick look at the circuit diagram. 706, a little interface unit, very simple, few resistors and a diode. Most of the work's done by the Mega. I'm connected to serial 1. The Mega's got 4 hardware serial ports, which is very handy because I need to drive a few different units. I've also got an RS-232 to USB adapter, and I'm using an IBM PC with a CIV test program to make sure that the 706 does respond to the codes that it's supposed to do before I get involved with the software here. I just want to make sure it works with the codes, so I've got this little extra bit of circuitry. Again, the interface between the RS-232 module is quite simple, just a resistor and a diode. So that's the hookup. My IC706 is a very early model, and it doesn't do much talking back to the controller. Most of the stuff has to be done via the controller. The controller has to tell the IC706 what to do. Basically, the response from the radio is simply the code was okay or it was not okay, and there's a little bit of data you can send to look at the frequency that the radio is tuned to, but it doesn't actually work unless you tune the dial, so there's a manual interaction involved. Later versions of the ICOM software had an additional code which allowed you to read the dial directly. Basically, you've got to send some binary coded decimal information. There's a couple here. The start, the address of the radio, the address of the controller, E0 is a default, a command number and a sub-command number, and then some data. For example, if you want it to go to lower sideband, the command number is hex, which is 0x06, followed by 0x00 or 0x01 if you're going to upper sideband. So that's basically what the CI5 interface box has to generate and send it to the radio. I've written quite a few functions into this. It's all on Arduino. Go to a single frequency, go up and down hertz and tens of and 1 kilohertz, and go up and down in tens of kilohertz and hundreds of kilohertz. The radio can scan between two pre-programmed frequencies. So these are functions I've put into the software. I'll do another video for the software because it'll take quite a bit of time. So this just shows you that basically what I have to do is enter information via the switches or the keypad. That information gets converted into binary coded hex bytes, and that gets sent via the Arduino to the ICOM 706. So I'll demonstrate that now. So here's a view of the display. When I enter some digits via the keypad, they'll appear down here. I'll just put some digits in. I'll go to 40 meters, which that requires 8 digits. So it'll be 0, 0, 7, 1, 0, 5, 0, 0, and I'll just go send to radio. There's a little button here. It goes to the radio, so I'll just go down to the radio and show you that. So there we are on 7105. There's a station there. I can change the mode to upper sideband or lower sideband, or I can move around a little bit like that. If I want to go back again, I just resend that frequency. There we go. I'll just go to another frequency. Let's go to 144 megahertz. 1442000, and there we are up on 2 meters. And we can go back down to say 20 meters. I'll just go over to the display as I'm doing now. So we go 0142000 and take that frequency, and there it is down there. And again we can actually move up in tens of kilohertz like that, move down in tens of kilohertz, look for frequencies, or we can move in hundreds of hertz and move down in hundreds of hertz. If I've got a previous frequency in there, I can go back and get it. Now I notice the mode is lower sideband, so I really want upper sideband for 20 meters. We'll just see if we can find anything. There's a bit of stuff there. Single there. Just turn him up. Not sure which way to go, so we'll... Wrong way. There we go. 14240. So, thank you very much, George, and Quebec 73CO. I'll talk to you on the walk. Can you that again? So I'll just get rid of that. We can clear that frequency, ready for another one. So that's basically it. Seems to work quite well. So hopefully the gesture module might be able to do some of these functions that I've been doing on the push buttons. It can't operate the keypad, of course, but it can. You can move around once you put a frequency in and change the mode and just step back and forth around the frequency. Here's an example of scanning between two pre-programmed frequencies. I'll just hit the scan button. The two programmed frequencies are on 40 meters between 7050 and 7200, I think. I'll just change the mode while that's scanning to lower sideband. And I can stop it when I want to stop it, start it again and stop it. So that's the using the pre-programmed P1 and P2 frequencies that are entered in the radio. So I can send a start and stop between those two frequencies. That's quite handy too. I can go back to 20 meters just by pushing one of the other buttons, as you can see there, or I can go back to the scan frequencies like that. To show you that on the module itself. Pull that out. So the buttons are along there. So this one here will take me back to 20 meters, and this one here, if you can see it, will that starts the scan. That stops the scan, or we can go back to 20 meters with that one there, which is the pre-programmed, which is a frequency I dialed up. So the dialed up frequency stays there. The scanning frequencies are built into the radio.